Tam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Sri Krishna Stanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Saganalita Shivishakam Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sinudina Bandhajat Pate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kansna Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamama Hare Priye Vancha Kalpta Bisha Kripas Nvavisha Patnam Pavan Vyo Vaishnavya Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurapani Pacharani Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskachai Desatarani Srila Prabhupada Ki. The Lord Vishnu is speaking here to Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, the creator, some contactor we can say. And the period of time is in the early morning, in one of Brahma's days. The portion of the universe that have been dissolved during the partial annihilation. So Brahma, he has been full of the need to get his potency, the false sense of carrying out his duty world, and have forgotten the supreme. Lord Vishnu is offering a whole series of benefits. The translation of the previous, which is verse 30. There, the Lord said, when you are free from the conception of the gross and bodies, and when your senses are free from all the influences of your nature, you will realize your pure form. At that time, so that was the previous verse. So by the constant remembrance of the Lord, one becomes free from the modes of nature. So that no more influence of the misidentification with the gross and subtle bodies. No more influence of the modes of material nature. Directly in the Lord's realization of one. Now, realization of one's own is in two stages. I'm constitutionally the eternal servant of the Lord. I'm the eternal servant of the Lord. Then the next step is, that's a more elevated stage, that realizes this is my particular right in service to the Lord. And Prabhupada, he comments, this spontaneous service attitude continues to evolve and is enhanced. So it's not static, devotional service, it's dynamic. It increases and it increases. The principles are enshrined within the regulations of the Vaidhi Bhakti, what we are doing. But it gives us a glimpse of what is next and what is next and what is next by following this process properly. That about realization of what saying, even before the end of your rasa, your relationship with Krishna, a glimpse, the beginning, an attraction. So at that time we will get consciousness is. So Srimad Bhagavatam gives us a clear picture of what pure consciousness has been bestowed on Lord Brahma. Because of his practice, Brahma demonstrates, therefore the Lord is bestowing it upon him. Text 34:4 again, the translation. Since you have desired to increase the population, increase for all. Increase for all's position as the original Prajapati. Of the number of devotees. Knowledge in the mode of goodness understands who is in the darkness, considers just. That is a very different kind. The materialist, when they They don't see difference what they are doing and what the thing, devotees and non-devotees, they are buying houses, getting. So we are in a bad association, or the modes of nature, or fall into delusion, or taking on the conceptions of material life. So those material conceptions of life are abundant around us in the material world. They are all around us. How do we assure the protection against the material conception of life for our children? How do we do that? We require protection from the Lord. While we try to attain that protection, we are still engaged in activities of the world, and we are not yet at a mature stage. So there is risk. We should be aware. The Bhagavatam is giving us practical and very pertinent instructions. It depends on the connection with the Lord and His mercy, ever-expanding mercy. Is it possible to desire to expand the number of devotees with a material conception? The answer is yes. It is possible to desire to expand the distribution of the number of books and do so with an interest in name, fame, adoration. Certainly, one can do it with a sense of material accomplishment. Conceptions that are material based are selfish, not done for the satisfaction of Krishna. The desired standard is for the satisfaction of Krishna only. And now I will read the last verse of today, 34. Rishimadyam na bhautnati papyam stvam rajoguna yanmano maya nirbaddam pracha samsrichato pite. You are the original Rishi, and because your mind is always fixed on me, even though you will be engaged in generating various progeny, the vicious mode of passion will never encroach upon you. So because your mind is always fixed on me. Now purport. The same assurance is given to Brahma in the second canto, chapter 9, verse 39. Being so favored by the Lord, Brahma's schemes and plans are all infallible. If sometimes Brahma is seen to be bewildered, as in the 10th canto, he is bewildered by seeing the action of the internal potency. That is also for his further advancement in transcendental service. Arjuna is found to be similarly bewildered. All such bewilderment of in knowledge of the Lord. That's interesting. It quotes Arjuna. Arjuna was similarly bewildered but it's an action of the eternal energy, the spiritual energy, meant for further advancement in knowledge of the Lord. And sure, Arjuna attained further advancement in knowledge of the Lord after hearing Bhagavad Gita. No. So this verses gives us very practical information. If we, at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains one who explains the secret of devotional service to my pure devotees. Pure devotional service is guaranteed. So it means if we assist Brahma in making plans for expanding the number of devotees, then that causeless mercy of the Lord, that protection is guaranteed. So that is a very important principle. I remember also that Bhishmadev tells Yudhishthira Maharaj in chapter 9, first canto, when Bhishmadev was lying on the bed of arrows, instructs Yudhishthira Maharaj and said, as long as you are following the instructions of the Brahmins and the religious principles, you will be protected by these religious principles and the Brahmins. So as long as we sincerely follow this process of devotional service, we stay on the boat of transcendental knowledge. And the boat will go to the other side. We just have to stay aboard. So we have to stay alive in Krishna consciousness and engage in Prabhupada's mission. As long as we are doing that, we are going to the other side. So pure devotional service is guaranteed. Interesting is that Brahma is creating. Brahma comes in contact with the mode of passion to create. So we have seen usually he creates and he uses the mode of passion to create as an instrument. He does not become affected because he always thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he uses it in the service of Krishna. And so that is the principle, and that in the second canto, Lord Vishnu says something very similar. He said, "O Brahma, you will always be protected against illusory energy as long as you engage fully in my devotional service." So it means fully engaging means without interruption. Without interruption. We have seen that by great devotees like Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj and also Bhakti Chara Maharaj and many others. They were always very, very busy in Krishna consciousness. No time to lose, always very, very busy. No interruption. So that is an important principle. And that's also explained in 126 in the Bhagavatam. Savaipam saparodharmo yato bhakti adokshe ahait kapatiyata yatma suprasidatsi. This verse explains what pure devotional service is, but it should be performed. It's pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord, who is not visible by material senses. But to count as pure devotional service, it should be a hierarchy, apatiyata, without material cause, and just to please the Supreme Lord. And these principles are explained in these verses here. So we can do book distribution and devotional service with a desire for fame, adoration, prestige, but that's not counted as pure devotional service. So the intention must be pure, that's one side, and the other side is apatiyata, without interruption. If it's interrupted, Maya comes in. Devotional service can never be interrupted. And so Brahma is using this instrument. He's using the mode of passion for creation, and he does not let overcome the passion. He's not overcome by the mode of passion. There was one rare case with his daughter Vak, but that was very exceptional. But Brahma is the guna avatar of passion, but is not influenced by it. He used this as an instrument in the Lord's service, and is protected because his mind is fixed on the Lord, and thus is protected by the Lord. So Prabhupada said once to his disciples, yes, I cannot fall down, but you can fall down. And then the same day, he was praying to the deities, and one devotee had the audacity to ask him what you are praying for. And Prabhupada said, I'm praying to the Lord to please to not let me fall down. And because I'm always praying like that, I'm not falling down. Just constant thinking of Krishna, constant. Mm. So this protection is unique for the process of bhakti also. If you have a Sankaracharya, in his line, to join the movement, you first must take sannyas. First take sannyas. Then you can join the movement. But in the process of bhakti, we can be protected and make spiritual advancement. But it should have these two qualities. Of course, Srimad Bhagavatam purifies our motivation, that it rejects all material motivated religion. It is for those who are non-envious. So these are the teachings here of let us say, these are the blessings of Lord Vishnu to Lord Brahma. So it's very significant for us. He said, you have desire to increase the population innumerably. That's one thing, but increasing the population, but also increasing the number of devotees. And that is the business of the Krishna consciousness movement. Factually, spiritual life, as explained before me, is a very risky business. The modes of material nature are there every moment to get you. To get you. And this vicious mode of passion is very, very dangerous. But we see by the example of great devotees, they have the determination not to deviate from these two principles of pure devotional service. Always and with pure motivation. And therefore, it's very important to know what to accept and what to reject in devotional service. What's against this pure devotional service we avoid. What's helping us to become firm is this pure devotional service. We accept. And of course, that's part of our surrender. We are not coming usually immediately to the level of pure devotional service. But the Madhyans, they have determination, I will not deviate from it. And one of these Madhyans is Bali Maharaj. And Sukacharya tried to deviate him from pure devotional service. That so Srila Prabhupada, he liked to hear dramas. That and I came across a drama with a dialogue between Bali Maharaj and Sukacharya in the drama. Prabhupada liked it very much. He said, so Bali Maharaj said to Sukacharya, was he's speaking about Vamandev, he said, he's just a young boy, give him something. And Sukacharya said, no, he's not a little boy, he's God. Then Bali Maharaj replies, oh, he's God, and you are telling me not to give? And formerly you taught me worship to Vishnu. Now he's at my door and you are telling me not to give? I reject you. I don't want a spiritual master like you. So that is Bali Maharaj. That imagine that. So he would not deviate from the principles of devotional service. And that because Sukacharya tries to deviate him in so many ways. But Bali Maharaj, as a pure devotee, he takes the instructions of Sukacharya and agrees with what's favorable for devotional service, and he rejects what's unfavorable. So that is the pure devotee, because Sukacharya says you should not give to this boy because you will lose everything. You will lose everything, and yeah, you didn't say Om, he said something technical. Because you didn't say Om, it's not really true. You don't have to. You did not say Om, you don't have to do it, this charity. Just let it go. And that if you made a promise and that promise is going to hurt you, you don't have to do it. But Bali Maharaj, he knows the religious principles of devotional service, and says there is nothing more sinful than untruthfulness. And he says, I fear cheating a Brahmin. And yes, we will lose everything when we give it to Vamandev, to this young boy. But why not please Vamandev with the riches? We are going to lose them at death anyway. So why not give now? So we see here the higher principle is always pleasing Krishna. So this is the purity of devotional service, and that's explained in these verses. Pure consciousness, and it's not easy to get that pure consciousness, Suddha Sattva. That to get it, we must purify our heart first. But that's one side, pure consciousness, but the other side is pure desire. So the desire to please Krishna must be at the foreground always. We may have many desires, but that desire to please Krishna should come first in everything. And the other desires, if they are not sinful, they can be dovetailed with that desire. So by that means that's the way to give your life to Krishna. So Prabhupada is like Vamandev is begging. Give your life to Krishna. Give your life to the Krishna conscious movement. Srila Prabhupada told my Guru Maharaj, why don't you give this life to Krishna and see what happens? Anyway, once we have the pure desire to make spiritual advancement, Krishna will put us at a certain moment in such a position that we need to surrender everything. So that's Krishna, how he helps his devotees, how he helped Arjuna. Arjuna became helpless in Bhagavad Gita. But it was directed by Krishna, by his internal energy, to make him surrender. So yes. So this is what I could say on these verses. Any comments, please?
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Maharaj, for sharing this depth of wisdom with us. It's so beautiful. And I mean, what you shared comes with some clarifications. So I believe the devotees may have some questions. As I do, I have a couple of questions. But devotees, if you have questions, comments, reflections, realizations you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your reflections.
Yes, we have Varanga Chetan.
Varanga Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my obeisances. I'm very thankful to this opportunity to hear you again and to ask a question. Please tell me how to clarify my intention, how to get this desire to please Krishna in my heart and to really make it prominent, because I'm feeling like it has been stimulated by association with more advanced devotee, but when I'm by myself without any influence of internal energy of Lord, my old unconscious desire become more prominent and subconsciously making me suffer again. So how to clarify my intention and make it more strong?
And thank you for your question. That pure intention means taking Krishna as the goal of one's life. And that means the prayojan, the goal is Krishna. And Prahlad Maharaj speaks about that. It says, Natevi tu svartratimi vishnum dharasya yebair achtamanena, atayat anderpanyamas tepis dantram rubam nida, bada. Says, all these so-called leaders in this world, they don't know the goal of life. And therefore they are leading, one blind man is leading another blind man. And they fall into a ditch and they suffer. So it's important to get the goal right. So once there was a contest, and Dronacharya tested his disciples, and asked one disciple after another. There was a target, a fish, hanging near a ceiling, and he had to shoot an arrow into the eye of the, it was the eye of a bird that, and Dronacharya asked Bhima to come, and Bhima said, and Dronacharya asked, what do you see? And he said, I see the trees, I see the bird, I see the eye of the bird. And he said, don't shoot. And he asked many, but then Arjun came. And he asked Arjun, what do you see? He said, I'm seeing the eye of the bird. And he asked Arjun, do you see something else? I said, no, I see only the eye of the bird. And Dronacharya said, Arjun, shoot. And he shot, and the arrow went right straight into the eye of the bird. So that is one pointed intelligence. It's also explained in the Bhagavad Gita. This vyavsatmika buddhi ekana koronanana. Everything in our life should have Krishna as the goal. But therefore, to understand, to have Krishna as the goal, one must understand who Krishna is. Therefore, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma samedmam yome veti tattva tyaktvam punarcharma naitamamit sarana. If you know me, my pastimes, my activities, then you don't take birth again. If we really know Krishna, we become attracted to Krishna. And we see Krishna as the goal of everything. And we start to see Krishna, everything in this world. But to come to that level of seeing Krishna and having Krishna as the goal, Krishna says, Tat vinapana partner pariprasna sevya upadeksanti technam jhanas tat vadakshana. One must take shelter of a spiritual master, inquire from him, ask questions, and serve him with humility. And if you do that, then Krishna says in the next verse, Yat yatva napanarmam evan yasyasi pandava yena bhutani ashrani rakshasi atmatyatomandmai. And then you start to see that everything in this world, it's me, Krishna says. I'm in everything, and everything is in me. The reality is there is only Krishna in this world, but we don't see it. We separate everything of Krishna because we have a different goal. We want to exploit the material energy, and we don't see Krishna. Therefore, what is the remedy? How can we come to put that goal right? Then you must hear about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita daily. And the more you hear, if you combine it with the other aspect, which is also explained here by Lord Brahma, expand the devotees, engage in the mission of Prabhupada, of the Mahatma. If you do these two things together, you become attracted. That means you become attracted to the goal. And it's a process that grows gradually. And that Brahma was different. Brahma did his austerities. Well, he was not really different. He did all the austerities in devotional service for many years. And then Lord Vishnu gave him pure consciousness. The same for us. We perform devotional service. What is our austerity? Hearing about Krishna and serving Prabhupada's mission. And when we do it for many years, with determination, more and more our attraction to the goal will grow. Because then the modes of nature are removed from the heart. Tato jastamobhavai kamalopaseasti sateraternavatam stitva prashidati. By hearing the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the spiritual master, all that is troublesome to the heart is completely destroyed. It means the mode of passion and goodness, passion and ignorance disappear. And when it comes to goodness, pure consciousness, so it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight that we put Krishna in the center. Gradually, by hearing and by associating with pure devotees, you come to the point. It's a question also of intensity. Now, the Muni in his previous life did it for 4 months, Chaturmasya. And then he got initiated, and for the rest of his life, he was chanting. And he got his spiritual body. He became attracted to the chanting. And at a certain moment, he got ecstasy, great attraction. Once you have this extraordinary, because Krishna gives us some extraordinary experiences in devotional service, then we lose it again. But because we had the experience, we are attracted. We cannot forget it. And that brings us further. It's a process with stages. Does that help, Frank Chaitanya?
Very much. Thank you for your merciful answer. It made me very happy.
Something else?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for the response and the answer. Varanga Chaitanya Prabhu, thank you for the question. Maharaj, I have a question which is similar to Varanga Chaitanya Prabhu's question. And that is, of course, Krishna is Krishna. No one can understand Krishna. But because I am a living entity in this human body, I'm still asking how and why Krishna does certain things sometimes. Krishna is assuring Lord Brahma here that if Lord Brahma does this, he is going to be protected. He told Arjuna to tell the whole universe that his devotees, Krishna's devotees, shall never perish. And this same Krishna states that we should always, this is the key word, always think of him. And if in a fraction of a moment, one does not think of him, Krishna sometimes allows this person to fall. And I just don't understand why Krishna will let that happen. Even as an ordinary human being who has no much love for their children as much as Krishna has for his children. If a father warns the child, before you cross the street, look left, right, left before you cross. And the child always does that. But one day, the child mistakenly only looks left, does not look right, and starts crossing the street. The father, seeing the son crossing the street, will immediately drag the child, so the child will not get hit by any vehicle. But sometimes Krishna allows someone who has been thinking of him for so many years, for so long, just a fraction of not thinking of him Krishna allows this person to fall. And I'm wondering, what do we do in such a case when just a fraction of not thinking of Krishna leads us to a fall down? What do we do? I mean, we have nobody to surrender to other than Krishna, but Krishna makes the process a bit, if I should say a bit, but makes it very, very dangerous and very, very difficult. So many great personalities in the scriptures, they fell, and they were very great devotees, and even in our own ISKCON movement also. So what do we do with this blue boy, Krishna, when he treats his own devotees the way he does? Maharaj, please help.
Well, let me first start with a story, a Sankirtan story in the 70s somewhere in America. Was a devotee who went for a few years with the devotees on Sankirtan distributing books. But then he blooped, they say blooped, gave up the principles, went to his old ways and so on. 2 years later, the devotees visited that fallen devotee. And he asked them, "How are you doing?" And he said, "I'm really doing my best to forget Krishna, but I cannot forget him. Every day it comes into my mind." I found that very interesting. That we try to, even if when a devotee tries to forget him, he cannot. And that we say many times also devotees from the second generation devotees, they are raised in Krishna consciousness. But then they leave Krishna consciousness. But many times later they come back. Because they have Krishna in their heart from birth. And if you are educated in Krishna consciousness from birth, that you have a natural affinity to hear about Krishna. So usually they are all coming back. But many times it's not, we may take the position, no, it's Krishna doing, but it's not always like that. That we may cultivate different desires, which brings us away from Krishna. Or we may make offenses and fall away from Krishna consciousness for some time, but usually we come back. I've seen many devotees like that, who fell away, who came back, that who were so-called in material life, even Prabhupada disciples, and they came back. That so these difficult moments, it is to expect it. We are in a material world. That but it depends on the situation. My Guru Maharaj always said, my teacher Maharaj always said, one little piece of wood, easy to break. Many sticks together, difficult to break. So if we are in association of devotees, constantly we are protected. If we are alone, Maya can be very, very heavy and take us away. So it's up to us what association. We choose our association. And that's also a fact. So usually it's a little more complex. Krishna does not make us fall down. The coast lies always within ourselves. And Krishna offers his protection, but we don't take it. Why don't we take it? Because, and that goes back to the question of Varangachitanyapa, that's you have Vyavasatmika Buddhi, one single-minded consciousness, only Krishna. Krishna is my primary goal. But Bhausakranandasva of Bogasya Pasaktanam Tayaparitasetasam, if you have many goals, then you divert yourself and by these goals. But many times we see devotees make offenses. They make offenses and they don't feel the satisfaction anymore in Krishna consciousness. And therefore they are looking for other things. That's a covering due to offenses. The covering is taken away when we enter anartha nivritti. And it's important always to understand this process of devotional service properly. That will help us with an understanding why we fall away from Krishna consciousness. Like you have sadhu sangha, first Shraddha, you have some faith, hearing from a Swami, sadhu sangha, association with devotees, and they teach you bhajana kriya, devotional service, you get initiation, you start to practice, and your bhajana kriya, you come to the point of being steady, nishtita bhajana kriya, you chant 16 rounds, you are very steady in the chanting, and you follow the four relative principles, you follow morning program, evening program, you are steady. But does that mean we are making advancement? Just by doing that? There's one factor which is important to make a spiritual advancement, and that's giving up our offensive mentality. You can chant 16 rounds and hear the Bhagavatam daily and so on, but advancement will be very difficult when we don't give up the offensive mentality. This is in the 10 offenses. That means not coming to Trinata Prishnitsina, Tarora Vishishna, Mana Manadna, Kirtanya Sadari, Nadanam, Najan, Nasundarim, Kavata Vashi, Sikami, Mama, Chamamam, Chamamishvari, Bhavata Bhaktara Haidkitvari. We know already these verses, heard so many times, but that's the pure consciousness. If we don't perform devotional service with that inner attitude, we are offensive. And offenses comes from disrespect. Still holding to material desires. Still attached to material things and thinking by devotional service I will become happy in this world. Or thinking I'm going to make an advancement in devotional service, but I keep a grudge towards this devotee and that. One must forgive. And I'm Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, I heard him giving seminars on forgiveness. So important. If we don't forgive devotees, we remain having a grudge towards them, which is offensive. It must out of our heart. And then we start to make spiritual advancement. And that will solidify us in devotional service. but we must give up the offensive mentality. So you can see a devotee is very strict in everything, but still is not really in anartha nivritti, because he makes these offenses. This offensive mentality is still there. And to come out of it, we need the mercy of Prabhupada, the mercy of advanced devotees, the mercy of the spiritual master, and beg to the mercy. And once we come out of it, when the hearts really start to become purified, then we are on a more secure platform. In other words, you can practice Krishna consciousness for 10 years and still have the offensive mentality. And that brings us in the danger zone. The danger zone. We have to cross beyond it. So these are details of the process of devotional service, which if we understand them, we can see better the causes of fall down. But it lies with our offensive mentality. It's not Krishna's fault. That Krishna is equal to everyone, and he lets us desire what we want, because devotional service is only out of free will, out of love, just love. And these are the highest devotees. And when we speak about Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, I met him a few times. I met him in Germany and in many places. But you could just feel his love. He had no grudge to anyone. He loved everyone. And these are our great examples. Does that help?
Yes, Maharaj, of course it helps. It helps a lot, but the worry is still there, because Govinda Rabu, you have a question? If you have a question, we'll come to you. But here, I'm here in the US, and there was a time that I used to get pulled over so many times by the cops, by the police. Because when you're driving, you have the police. They're hiding. They're hiding, and if you go against the traffic rules, they pull you over, they give you a citation. So anytime you're driving and you see the police, you drive properly. Because you don't want to be arrested. You drive properly. You follow the rules. Now, here in the case of Maya, which I believe, like myself, I'm not sufficiently afraid of Maya. But if we were to be afraid of Maya, just like we are afraid of the police on the highway, and therefore we see the police, we drive accordingly, properly. How do I see Maya in such a way that I will be very much afraid of Maya? And the other side of my question is, because you were saying, which is scriptural also, that pinpointedness, like Varanga Chaitanya Prabhu's question, you only aim at Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. You don't even concern yourself about Maya. I cannot do that at my level. It's difficult for me to just concentrate on Krishna, Krishna. I see so many other things. So how do I, in the pursuit of just attaining Krishna, also understand that there is Maya here and there, and be careful not to be, not to fall into the traps of Maya? Because my situation now, Maharaj, is difficult for me to just see Krishna alone. I'm here with talking about Krishna. So I'm thinking of Krishna. Once we live here, I may not be thinking of Krishna, I'll be thinking of something else. So this is my dilemma. This is my problem, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. It's interesting. One devotee said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, thank you so much. Without you, I would now have been in Maya. Prabhupada replied, you are always in Maya. But the thing here is that Maya means we don't see Krishna in this world. But the Uttamadikar is see only Krishna in this world. There is only Krishna. But we don't see Krishna. We see something separate from Krishna. And that's Maya. Riteritam napratyata napratyata satmana. There's the second verse of the Svaraptam Satar Shloka. Everything what is seen different from me is Maya. That's the definition of Maya. That what we see disconnected from Krishna. So what if we hear the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and we discuss with devotees, we engage fully in devotional service, gradually we start to see Krishna everywhere. It's a gradual development. We hear from the spiritual master, we serve him, and by his blessings we get that vision. Gradually we start to see. So that is the process of devotional service. The Uttamadikara has no problem with seeing Krishna everywhere because he only sees Krishna. He sees a person and sees Krishna in the heart. Vidyavinaya Sampradaya Bhavnaka Prishni Sunisheva Pakasha Pandadas Samadakshan. He sees only Krishna. That's the vision of an Uttamadikar. And Krishna is training us in Bhagavad Gita. He says that in 5th chapter, verses 8 to 12, while opening one's eyes, closing one's eyes, while evacuating, while speaking, and so on, one sees that only the senses are engaged by their sense objects, and that we are doing nothing. It's done by material nature. But who is controlling material nature? That Krishna says that I'm the superintendent of material nature. As Paramatma, Krishna is doing everything. I'm speaking now, but the speaking is done by Krishna. The soul only desires. And so one who is advanced in this knowledge can see Krishna just through knowledge everywhere. That's the beginning. But then if one becomes purified, one sees naturally Krishna everywhere. So that's an expansion of consciousness. And that expansion of consciousness, seeing Krishna everywhere, that's coming to the reality of life. Because Krishna is everywhere. That is in the atom everywhere. That we see a color, we see a structure of wood. That structure is made by the atoms, energy of the atoms, and Krishna is in the atoms. He makes that. So there is only Krishna in this world. But because we have this separatist mentality, we have Muda Drisa. Queen Kunti says we have the vision of fools because we can't see Krishna. But yes, that Prabhupada explains the method of finding Krishna in the pages of the Bhagavatam. That is hearing with rapt attention. And that will help us to purify our vision. Tot the point that our eyes are Premansya Bhakti Vilochanana. From the moment our eyes are pointed with love of God, we are lost for the material world. We see Krishna everywhere, and there is no question of falling down. Prabhupada said, an Uttamadikar is no question of falling down. An Madhyamadikar does not fall down. Is the Kanishta fall down. That because we have other desires still in the heart. That yes. So this is what Krishna says there. So yes, it's a process. That's
Thank you
what
so much.
I say.
All right. Thank you. Govinda Prabhu, did you have something to ask or share? You may unmute.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Maharaj, please kindly accept my respectful obeisances. Glories to you, glories to Srila Prabhupada, and glories to your service to devotees. Actually, my hands were not up. I'm just leaning on my steering. But anyway, once I'm called upon, I guess I need to say something. Maharaj, thank you very much for the presentation, and I'm kind of afraid and also very much in shock of one statement that you made, that we can be hearing Bhagavatams, we can be following the four regulative principles, we can be in association of devotees, and we may be thinking that we are advancing, we are progressing, but actually we are going nowhere. We're standing at ease because of offenses.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really a very difficult thing, and it's hard to understand. I'm in a boat. I have not fall out, and the boat is moving. And if you say the boat is moving, but I'm standing still, then that is difficult to understand. My own spiritual master, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, also made one statement that there's no one who will fall without committing offenses. If someone falls without committing offenses, that means that Maya is stronger than Krishna. In other words, he's saying that once we are connected with Krishna, there's no question of Maya taking us from him.
Yeah.
So falling down means one must have committed apara, and aparada means without the mercy of Srimati Radharani.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, we are hearing Bhagavatams, we are reading Bhagavatams, we are associating with devotees, but we are committing offenses, and we are so in the midst of this association. How would we know what is the yardstick?
Yeah.
How would we know that we are doing something wrong? that we can correct ourselves, because we are still here in a boat, and we are doing all we're supposed to do, but we are committing a lot of offenses, and there's nothing showing that we are committing offenses. So that is my question.
Yeah, that's clear, your question. That I must say it's not my statement. It's a statement found in Madhurya Kanambini and in Harinam Chintamani. Harinam Chintamani, that Haridas Thakur says there are 3 stages of chanting. That the first is Aparat, that's a stage. In the beginning we are chanting in Aparat. The second stage is Namabhas. Namabhas is Anartha-nivritti, purification of the heart. If the heart is pure, we chant the Sudanam. And Haridas Thakur says to go from the Aparat stage to the Namabhas stage, the purification of the heart, we must give up Aparat. So we can be in Nishtita Bhajnakriya, very fixed up, but still taking to this Aparat. And it's like a vicious circle. A vicious circle. We are chanting with Aparat, and by that we chant, and because it's Aparat, we are really not coming in Artha-nivritti. A little, not much. It's a vicious circle, you cannot get out. So what's the way to get out it? To get out of the vicious circle? It's the mercy of the spiritual master. That's the way to get out. Therefore, yes, Lord Krishna says, dat you approach the spiritual master, serving, inquire, humbly. And then, by His mercy, you start to see. So we need the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, of great devotees, and by their mercy, we will be able to come over it. Yes, Shriman Varacharya Prabhu.
Shrimavara Prabhu, you may unmute. Okay, good.
Please accept our obeisances.
Yeah.
All those to Srila Prabhupada. Is my voice audible? My voice clear?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Maharaj. Very nice hearing you. I just thinking about Sadi Prabhu's question about not being able to push once we are out of Sangha or darshan, the temple. So, yeah, I think it's true. I mean, like you rightly answered that the Uttama Adhikaris, they're able to see Krishna in the heart of every living entity, everything. But I think Krishna also knows this, that it's not easy for the conditioned soul to see him everywhere. But he has given us a way to do this. Now the question is, are we able to apply that? Krishna says that he is the taste in the water, he is the light of the sun and the moon, he is the fragrance of the heart, etc., etc. Can we, if we try to apply that, is that difficult? Is that different from seeing Krishna everywhere? So, I mean, I'm thinking that Krishna has given us, Krishna is so merciful that he gives us always a way out. But the problem is, do we follow or do we apply? So that's my bone of contention. I think Krishna knows very well how difficult it is for us to be able to see. But then he has made it so simple that if we see the sunlight and we immediately offer obeisance. If we're drinking water, we offer obeisance, take it to our head and bow that this is Krishna. I think that would probably help us to improve our consciousness, even though at first we may be doing it mechanically, but gradually it may become a realization. That's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I think this principle is explained in various other ways. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tesham satayuktam bhajam pitipavkam dadami buddhiyogantam yena mamupyantite. If you serve me with a little love, then dadami buddhiyogantam, I will start to purify you. But the problem is, we don't know what love is. We take it as lust. We don't understand spiritual love. We cannot understand that in our conditioned state. But Krishna has made the arrangement. If we serve the spiritual master and we serve him nicely, Krishna will accept this as a little love. And he accepted as a little love, and he will start to purify us. So it depends on the mercy of the spiritual master. And therefore, Srila Vishwanath Bhakti Thakur says, the key for spiritual advancement is following the instruction of the spiritual master. That's the way to get the mercy. That I remember always when in 2018 I was at the Bhaktivedanta Manor and my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Charamaj, was there and he was sitting just beside me and he asked me to speak to some of my Bhakti Shastri graduates. He was going to give them initiation. So I was praying to my Guru Maharaj for his mercy. When I prayed to him, he said, no. He pointed to the deity of Prabhupada. Said, that's where the mercy comes from. So the mercy comes to Prabhupada through the Guru Parampara. Prabhupada is the source of all our good fortune. He's pure devotee, and whatever he desires, Krishna will fulfill. Prabhupada promised if we chant 16 rounds, follow the 4 relative principles, we will go back to God. How it will happen, it's up to Krishna to arrange. It may take a few lifetimes, but he will bring us back to God. That's an assurance we have. We may fall down sometimes to our own immaturity, but there is also the mood in which we chant. Prabhupada said we chant like a mother crying, like a child crying for the mother, helpless. A child cries is helpless. It's focused. Because I'm always thinking, we are chanting 16 rounds, okay. But are we really chanting 16 rounds? We are the consciousness in this body. Are we conscious of Krishna while we are chanting, or conscious of something else? If we are conscious of something else and the lips are chanting, are we chanting? So that attention is also, inattention is also an offense. And it's not easy, but at the same time, that Krishna promises my devotee will never perish. So we may fall away sometimes for some time, but we will never perish. That we are going, Rupa Goswami says this process of devotional service is a process of many, many births. But Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj told us, you make it in this lifetime. And by the mercy of Prabhupada, we must have the conviction, yes, we shall go back in this lifetime. Try our best. That have faith in Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. I think we can end here.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for this depth of wisdom, love, and time with us. Yes. One quick thing I would like to mention, and probably I know, Maharaj, you have to leave. Maybe you may want to say something in this regard. I am thinking, I'm saying this because I know it's become a bit of a problem in our precious movement, ISKCON. And that is when your Guru Dev His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj asked you to speak, and you were praying to him for the strength, the wisdom to do that. And he pointed to you, go to Srila Prabhupada. I see that is the normal etiquette because Bhakti Charu Maharaj is your guru, so you have to go to him. And because Srila Prabhupada is there, he is also going to Srila Prabhupada. But there are few instances where some people would say that you do not have to go to your guru. You have to go directly to Srila Prabhupada. And I feel that is also inappropriate. I do not think that is the etiquette. Do you have something to say in this regard?
Yeah, what I can say is that when I think of Prabhupada, I think always in relation with my Guru Maharaj. And when I think of my Guru Maharaj, I see a Prabhupada Bhakta. I see always a relationship with Prabhupada. And I think that's the right way to see. Never see them disconnected. They are always connected. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. So, dear devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute yourselves, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our deepest appreciation to our revered speaker for today, His Holiness Bhakti Prabhava Swami, for sharing his love and wisdom time with us today. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Ancha
Kalpataru Vyascha, Patitanam Pavanabhyo, Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai.
Hey.
All glories to His Holiness Bhakti Prabhava Swami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Hey.
All glories to Vaishnava Vaishnavi devotees Ki Jai.